everybody. Let's see how we are doing here. Okay. Let's see. So let me know when you are here. Is that you, Xoch? Yay! I see Xoch here. I'm ready to see you. Okay, I'm going to bring you on camera right now. Oh, I'm trying to touch here. Are you here? It says it's adding you. Let's hope if you come soon in camera, Xoch. Connecting. Yay! Here's my Xoch. Hi, Xoch. How are you?
I'm doing great. I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm doing great in this Valentine's Day from Florida. I know you are in beautiful California near Napa Valley.
That is true. That is true. So, hello, sassy ladies. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you all are doing great. And first, let me address the elephant in the room. Yes, I have a thick accent, but don't worry, people. Get used to it very quickly. And even I told that it becomes enduring. It's absolutely worth it that you hang in here with me and my accent because the topics we'll be discussing today will be life-changing. And I know that the universal language of love will make it up for any glitch in my communication. If you are going through a heartbreak, whether romantic or health related or because of a career setback, you name it, this podcast is for you. We also encourage you to share this link and the tools you will learn today with anyone you care about who might also be in need. The podcast will help you understand that hardship might be inevitable, but it's actually an important part of our growth, and it can be the key for a more fulfilling life. Like the adage says, pain is unavoidable, but suffering is optional. You don't have to become stuck in the pain and the regrets, fearing your next step. Today, I have the honor of being here with my friend, Dr. Dieli Pichardo-Johansson, a woman I admire deeply. Together, we'll start a conversation and share with you some techniques that will definitely help you heal quicker and more deeply and have a different perspective about heartbreaks. At the end of this podcast, you will feel motivated, more at peace, and more invigorated. You will be one step closer to recover that passion you had for love and life. I also strongly recommend you that you stay at the end because Yeli will share with us a mind-blowing process you can do at home to gain closure and be ready for your new life. Are you ladies ready? Well, let me tell you, Diel is a board certified oncologist and retired physician. She's also a life coach, author of 9 books, and founder of the Sassy Facebook community. She's also a happy wife to her soulmate, mother of kids with special needs, and a cancer survivor. At a personal level, I feel so blessed to have her in my life. She has helped me so much in my journey to becoming the best version of myself. I am so humbled to learn from someone so deeply involved in the field of self-development, but also with a great heart. I think seriously that every person needs a Dieli in her life. So without further ado, ladies, let me welcome Dieli Pichardo! Woohoo!
Xoch, thank you for that beautiful introduction. I am deeply moved, but I have to say the love is mutual. You guys mark it in your calendars, in your lives. Someday I have the strong feeling Xoch is going to be super famous, and we got to meet her now. She's a special person. I call her an angel on earth. She enlightens anybody's life just with her presence and her smile. You hang around with her a little longer and you'll see what I mean. She is like a shot of, I was going to say heroin, but I've never had heroin in my life. So caffeine or something that energizes you. And I am deeply honored to have her as in the past as my client, but now she's more my accountability partner and my partner in this new project of the Sassy Woman and the Sassy Latina groups. Thank you so much, Xoch.
No, thank you, DL. It's truly, truly my honor. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And just so our sassy ladies here know, I have a couple of questions that I always wanted to ask you, and some others that ladies from this group ask us in private, which, by the way, I will refer to them just as friends, or I will change their names because just for privacy matters, right? But I would love to start probably daily. I know you have gone through so many heartbreaks, but I know probably some of them are more meaningful to you. Could you please tell us more about your story? Can you please tell us what is the secret to a healing process?
Okay, that's two questions in one, but let me start by telling, let me start by
repeat them if you want.
so some of you know parts of my story, so I'll try to be brief, but you heard me in a couple of recent podcasts talking about me being the super perfect little girl, the good girl who was the straightest to a student, the most devoted daughter who was obedient and wanted to be a model for everybody and an example for everybody. So there was a time in my life when a few things hit me at the same time. My mother was diagnosed with cancer, and shortly after I had to move to the after she passed away, I had to move to the United States to start my medical training, my specialty training. So around the time I started, the guy I started dating at that time at age 19, when my mother was first diagnosed, ended up being the person I married. Not the best moment in your life to make a decision about a life-changing decision like getting married. So this perfect little girl who was, I graduated summa cum laude, I became a board certified hematologist oncologist. I was going to change the world one cancer patient at a time. Had to face a moment when I had to realize that I was miserable, that I was deeply miserable in my marriage, and I had to get the first F of my life asking for a divorce. And the process happened at the same time of a heartbreak, being disappointed with my father, who had hidden a secret from us for a while. And that's a long story I'll tell you someday. But that made me question that everything he had taught me was true. And I was there putting up with a marriage I was miserable at because I wanted to make my father proud, and I wanted to continue the legacy of the family of being an example to the world. So that psychological process that started at that time, leading me to go to therapy, reevaluate every single moral principle I ever learned, reevaluate all the decisions of my life, and stepping up and taking the decision to say, you know what, life is too short. I am miserable, I am unhappy, I cannot do this anymore. Who am I trying to impress? And asking for a divorce was the first step towards an amazing reinventing my life. Then shortly after that, and that's the part that all my friends like me to tell about the story, I was a divorced mother of 4, including twins with special needs, a doctor living in a town where the average man had barely a high school education, so they were intimidated and didn't want to date a woman. Not to mention, it's a retirement town in Florida when 90% of the population is over the age of 80. So everybody said, oh, she's never in her life going to find love again. And not to mention, I had married my first and last boyfriend, who I started dating at age 19. So I had zero idea about dating, zero. And I said, you know what? No, I have a memory of the future of a soulmate. I know he's there somewhere. I just feel it. And I started studying the personal development, law of attraction. Besides all my medical training, I became a passionate student of psychology, self-help, law of attraction, personal development, personal growth. And the miracle happened. I mean, I met my wonderful soulmate, David. This year is 10 years that we're together. He embraced my children, including my twins with special needs, to the point that I joke and I say that he and my twin boy, they are the real soulmates. I was the instrument to get them to meet each other because they adore each other. So this is just an example. And I could quote many other heartbreaks. Having kids with special needs is a heartbreak. Later on, I lost my father suddenly. He died suddenly. Luckily, we had made peace before that and made cancer diagnosis, quitting, deciding that I had also made the decision of becoming an oncologist from the wrong place in my life and quitting that career. So heartbreak over and over taught me the lessons of resilience. Not to mention that for 15 years, that was what I did. I was practicing more life coaching than oncology, cheering up my patients, learning from their journeys, and helping them because I'm a believer that the mind, the spirit, and the body are connected. So,
of course,
all these lessons of resilience have taught me that the best thing that can ever happen to you is a setback. That the moments when we are heartbroken are the moments when our original wounds from childhood are at the most closest to the surface they'll ever be, and are the closest for us to be able to heal them. It's also the moment when we take a look at everything we believe in and we make decisions, what serves me and what doesn't, what is really what I believe and what is what someone else spoon-fed me during my life.
I am so happy that you're actually sharing that, Dieli, because I feel so related to you. I was in a certain way, and I still have to work on that process. I mean, you know me, right? But what I realized is that part of the way I was, it was because something really deep inside me was so embedded, that I always had a why. And I guess most of us, knowing or without knowing, we always have a big why within us, the reason why we do things. And it can be something that is truly comes from the bottom of our heart, or it can be because of the places where we grew up and we were taught in a certain way. We have paradigms, right? Mm-hmm. that in a way affects us in the way that we are. But sometimes it is almost very hard to question ourselves and say, why am I doing this? Like you were saying, right? Why do I need to get straight A's? And why do I need to be this perfect girl? And so when the time came when you unfortunately had to get divorced, you were like, wait a moment, right? It doesn't make me less because I just got divorced. It doesn't make me less. And then everything that you were able to learn and have that heart and that compassion, that I think that's why I like you so much because you are, I mean, I know you have studied and you've been so passionate about it, but I truly believe that you are a coach by heart, by nature. It's just part of who you are. So I am so thankful and so grateful for those patients that you were able to touch, not only with your knowledge, but also with your heart.
Thank you, Xoch. And I recently talked to a very loved former patient who was a little heartbroken to hear that I wasn't planning to return to oncology. But I believe that this is a homage I am doing to my former patients. Thank you for your beautiful words.
Oh, you're welcome, my dearie. I have a question this one comes from me, and I think it's just so related to what we're talking right now. What would you consider is the most important part of healing from a heartbreak?
Very good question. So the most important part of healing from a heartbreak is admitting that it happened in the first place. Let me put on my doctor's hat for a moment. We are programmed to run away from pain. Pain can kill us. If a rock falls on top of us or a knife slices a part of our arm, we may potentially bleed and die. So we are programmed to, the moment we feel pain, our brain lights up and says, run away, get away from there, numb the pain, avoid the pain. So when we have emotional pain, which is not going to kill us, the emotional pain is recorded in the brain also as life and death. And we avoid it, we try to numb it. But when we pretend that what hurt us didn't happen, or we try to block it, numb it, not admit it happened, that's the worst we can ever do, because that pain comes back sooner or later, and it comes back to haunt us and bite us in the future. So we need to learn to be comfortable with the discomfort and know that when something painful is happening, it's not emotional, it's not going to kill us. And we need to allow ourselves to feel it, cry whatever we need to cry, be angry and admit we're angry, and let the feelings have their own course.
You know what, Eli, actually, when you were talking about that, which by the way is very wise and beautiful, I remember, sorry, I'm moving, I'm trying to find my best light here. So, but when going back to what you're saying, I remember when you told me, Xoch, you have to embrace it. You have to embrace the emotion. Sometimes we're so used to faking it, right? Like we were probably taught that whenever something is going wrong in our life, or whenever we're hurt, or whenever we're having a heartbreak, if we just ignore it and we smile and we, are positive, everything is going to change. And I don't know if you remember, but back in the days, they will tell us about having a positive attitude, right? But having a positive attitude is not about just pretending that the problem doesn't exist. It's just what I think, and I have learned from you, is actually being able to embrace that emotion, but with the right mindset. Right, as you were saying, knowing that that emotion is a messenger, it's teaching us something, right? So I guess in this case, the pain will tell us that, oh, you are hurting because probably an expectation that you had is not being met, right? Or probably you are so afraid of what is coming because it is unknown to you, right? So it's just basically, I'm guessing, and that's part of what you're saying. I love the way you put it in words, because it's basically that, just how just connect in the right way with that emotion.
Yes, well said, Xoch. Yes.
Thank you so much. I have another question, and this also comes from me. So, being you so successful, you know how much I admire you, Delia. I still cannot believe you're my friend. But as a spiritual and self-actualizing woman, what do you do to forgive either your ex, either someone who did wrong to you, or even yourself? What do you do so you could move on?
That's a very good question too. So that question has a couple of different levels of answers. There's an intellectual answer, and then there is an emotional answer. And the intellectual answer is to always have perspective, put yourself in the shoes of the other person, always assume the best intention possible in the person that hurt you, and also knowing that everybody that enters your life and hurts you is a messenger teaching you something. But that's my wonderful husband, who is so patiently waiting until I am done with my podcast.
It's the Ellis Prince.
Yes, that's my Prince Charming. So that's the intellectual answer. The spiritual answer is that you just have to fake it until you make it. In a way, you just have to ask something greater than you to help you forgive. There is a process that I love, and at the end of the podcast, we're going to be sharing a specific process to help you forgive faster, move on faster, heal faster. But if you could disconnect from here and don't hear one more thing, Google the Opopopono, that Hawaiian technique that is super simple, and it's just like something you can do 2 minutes a day when you imagine the person who hurt you, and it can be yourself too. And you just imagine yourself hugging that person and saying, I am sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And then you imagine them responding to you with the same words. I am sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. That is miraculous. Even if it didn't really happen and it was in your imagination, it heals. And you repeat that loop over and over for about 2 minutes. And every time you say the words, more memories come to your mind. And you, oh yeah, now I'm forgiving you for the other time when you were mean to me. And now you're forgiving me for the other time when I was mean to you. And it's transforming. And if you don't do anything else that we talk about today, I recommend that you Google it. And I know I'm slaughtering the name. It's the Opopopono, spells with H-O, then O-P-O. So you Google it and you'll find it.
And you know what? It will be probably a really good idea just to put it on our group or at the end of the video and just type it. So I think we can even put a link.
Yes. I see so many beautiful comments popping up and I'm dying to read them, but I am so tech handicapped, I don't know how. So at the end, when I go and read all these beautiful comments, I will post the right spelling.
That's what I was going. Yeah, perfect. And I just wanted to say hi, Emily. I've seen so many people that Isabel and other people are joining us, Joanna, and some. I also saw other
Isabel is there. Hi, Vivi.
About and thank you so much. At the end, I promise you we will address you. It's just that I have like squirrel, you know, and then I get distracted. I don't want to get distracted. But thank you so much for that love. Happy Valentine's Day. Going back to our conversation, Dieli, I am so thankful that you shared this technique with us because I have a question and let me look for it. It was from another friend, part of the Sassy Ladies. And let me see if I can find it really quick. But she said that basically, okay, here it is. It says, I am going through a divorce and the most painful part is that I don't feel supported by my family. I am so hurt. I can either forgive my husband or my family members. So basically, I'm thinking from what I'm reading is probably that she's just having a hard time trying to forgive because right now she's so hurt. What would you say in a situation like that? Do you think she can still do that technique?
That's a great question. Absolutely, the Opopopono will help you regardless. But I strongly recommend that she starts with what we are going to talk in more detail at the end. And I'll give you a first hint of the several steps. And it's a letter that you never intend to send to the person that hurts you. And that she can start with her ex, but she can choose to do that for every single person in her family who's currently hurting her or not giving her the support she needs. And in that letter, you start with so-and-so, I am sad because, and you vent it on the page and you uncover that and you express your sadness. And you don't have to send a letter ever. I actually recommend you don't. Just by putting it in black and white is usually enough to help us heal. So you continue after you have done everything. I am sad with, next step, I am angry because. And then you say all the anger. The next would be, I am scared of, or I am afraid of, and you vent your fear. The next step, I regret that, and you vent your regrets. Those are the 4 types of feelings you need to feel, and that is from John Gray. And when you don't address all 4 of them, you may end up getting stuck in one. When you haven't addressed the anger.
Sorry to interrupt you. Would you mind sharing them with us again? So, sadness, regret, anger. Sadness, anger, regret,
fear, and regret.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We might have to type those there too. But I guess it comes back to what we initially started talking, right? It comes back to embracing the emotions and knowing that they are there.
Yes, and I forgot the last step. I forgot the last step. We're going to talk more about later, but when you have finished venting the sadness and the anger, and it may take you days, it may take you weeks, always make sure to end with the gratitude. Then say, thank you for everything you taught me, for everything that you have given me. And it could even be something as, you taught me to never date someone like you, or you taught me to respect myself enough to walk away from a situation like this. Whatever it is, it can be, you taught me that I like salted caramel Starbucks. And anything that you are grateful for, and at the end you say, thank you, I release you from my life. For the case of relatives that we cannot fire from my life, I recommend to say, thank you. You are released from your obligations as my parent or my sister or my boss or my, you are fired, or you are allowed to retire now. I will be my own parent. I will now take care of myself.
Oh my gosh, that is so powerful, Dieli. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love how you say, like, at the end, ending with gratitude, because it comes back, you know, to feeling that you have enough, and that maybe those situations that happened to you were there for a reason, right? So
Yes, absolutely.
I feel like when you become grateful, you don't feel as a victim anymore. It's more like, it's not that something bad happened to you and poor me. It's more like I had a lesson and I learned it and I am ready for the next step. Am I correct?
Exactly. Yes. And as you see, it's more organic and real if you first acknowledge the hurt, and if you first give yourself permission to say, this sucks, and feel the
Yes.
disappointment.
Mhm. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Let me find another good question that I had. Please, please excuse me if I don't read your question. I promise you will address it in another podcast that we have. We had really good questions, but I just picked the ones that I thought were more like general and that will apply to many of us, including myself. Okay, let me see here. Um, so the divorce one I already told you, okay, and you already, okay. Yeah, I guess the one that I wanted to ask you is like, what do you do when you have resentment or trouble for forgiving? But I guess you just said it, or do you have something extra to say when you
Well,
have that you feel that it's kind of hard to do it?
but sorry, I have to address Joanna. Yes, Joanna, thank you. That is called catharsis. Nice comment.
Thank
As
you.
I'm sorry. What can you ask the question again?
Yes, I had this question that it came from me because I'm the one who wants to know everything. So I said, what do you do when you have resentment and trouble forgiving? But I guess you just covered it with what you were telling us right now, unless you have something else to share.
No, I guess the only thing I want to share is my favorite phrase from Celia Cruz. Forgiveness is not forgetting, it's remembering without pain. It may take you a while repeating this process a few times until you feel that you can remember that person now without pain. That's when you know you're done.
And you know what? Thank you so much for sharing that, Dieli, because I have another comment to say. And please clear that for us, because I have been with so many friends that have a trouble forgiving, but because they think that the fact of they forgiving a certain person means that they still need to be in touch with that person. So per se, let's say a lady who is going through a divorce, right? Like the one that we just read, and they think or that because she ended that relationship, but if she forgives that person, then she still needs to be in communication with the ex. And sometimes like, but I really don't want to be in touch with that person anymore. Or it can be a friend, it can be a relative, right? But I don't think that's necessarily the case, right? The fact of forgiving doesn't mean that you have to be in touch with that person, even I mean, if you don't want to, and even more if it is not healthy, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. First, forgiveness, like my dear friend psychiatrist Mariela Camilo recently said, forgiveness is something you do for yourself, has nothing to do with whether the other person did something you agree with, or you are, or sometimes we say, oh, that person did something so bad that I have to remain angry at them for the rest of my life as a righteous indignation, or because they don't deserve that I not stop hating them. But you don't do it for them, you're doing it for you, because you want to free yourself from that negative energy, to call it a hippie term. You want to free yourself from that pulling you back. And yes, sometimes we have to forgive people who have threaten our lives, or that are dangerous, or that were abusive, and we absolutely, oh hell no, we're not planning to be in touch with them ever again. We are forgiving them, and as part of the love we have for them, We are forgiving them and letting them go. Sometimes telling someone, because I love you, because I care for you, I am going to step away from you. That's the best
Oh,
act of
wow.
love I can do. Is you need help, and until you get it, I am going to physically remove myself from you.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I loved it. Thank you so much. See, you're so wise. That's why I love talking to you.
I'm going to have to call you every day so you cheer me up. You raise my self-esteem.
You know what, Yeli? Once I heard someone saying, um, a person can hurt you once, and it is up to you if you let that person to hurt you even more. And I think it has to be with remembering, right, what the person did to you. It's like
Yes.
you remember that scene over and over and over, and then so the person hurt you once, but you're the one who is, constantly re reviving that pain or that negative emotion.
Yes,
So thank you.
In Buddhism, they say that anger and resentment are like holding on to a hot coal, hoping to throw it at someone, but who, in the meantime, you're burning a hole through your own hand.
Yes, yes, that's exactly it. You just said it with more beautiful words. Okay, let me see. I found a really good question here. Okay, I got it. I got it. Okay, so this is from another friend, which I also actually thought it was a really good question. It says, I have been experienced a couple of heartbreaks lately. I broke up with someone I had been dating for 9 months, and now due to coronavirus, I just lost my job. I am afraid to get deeply involved in a relationship again or even at work. I don't want to experience this kind of pain again. What would you recommend me?
Oh, well,
That's
my
a hard
heart
one,
goes to
right?
you. My heart goes to you. Sometimes it does feel like when it rains, it pours, and everything happens at the same time. Um, the first thing I want to say is take your time. This is not like they say, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Healing is going to take some time. And the it's a matter of taking this opportunity to ride the waves. I call when you are feeling down about your job, about your breakup, you're going to start noticing inner dialogue that if you track it down, is actually inner dialogue from the people who raised you, the wounds from childhood, the people who hurt you when you were little. And this is your opportunity to unbury those things and to address them. And if we had hours, we'll talk more about other techniques to address that type of childhood wounds. But they see the constant daily work of being with the discomfort, being with the feeling, processing it, listening to yourself, learning to reconnect with yourself and listen to what your feeling is telling you. That is something that can be a blessing. When you said that you are afraid to have a relationship again, oh, actually, sweetie, the best thing you can do in your life right now is to not hurry to have a relationship. You first want to learn from this one. Seize the opportunity to ask yourself, what did I not want in my life from this person? What did this person do that I not ever again want to bring to my life? Convert that into positive and start making a list that you add on from time to time in the future. When I'm ready, no hurry, this is what I want to bring to my life. What did you learn about yourself? What do I do? What do you need to become more of? More assertive, more someone who speaks her own voice, someone uh, who is happier, who takes less seriously what other people say about her. Whatever it is, ask yourself the questions and become your best friend. The time after a breakup can be one of the best times to become your best friend, date yourself, getting to know each other. What do I really like? When we're in a relationship, we sometimes are molding ourselves to accommodate the other person. Now that I'm alone, wow, what are the movies that I really like? What's the music I really like? Where do I like to go? Make this time an exploration of the best friend you'll ever have in your life, which is yourself. And I wish I could tell you more about how to address career change and being without a job and having to start all over. Maybe we'll do a podcast for that in the future. But today we're kind of staying in heartbreak. Just about the job, remember to, this is also the moment to ask yourself, what do I really want in my next job? What did I not like from my previous job? If I could have it my way, what exactly do I want in the next time I start working for somewhere else?
Diely, thank you so much. I know we're running out of time, but let me ask you, I just get so, let me tell you, people out there listening to us, I could talk to Diely for hours and not get tired of it. So maybe we need to do like a slumber party and talk for like 5 to 6 hours. I don't know. So
my husband would kill us, but maybe we can.
Can you share a little bit with us of your own personal story? Because, I mean, you said that your ex was your only boyfriend, right? And then you were married to him for such a long time. So what happened right after? What did you do? Like the advice that you're saying right now, did you have to become your best friend? And how did you, what was the process between being divorced and getting to know another man? What was something, how will you say that, meaningful or yeah, meaningful that you did in that?
Well, so the first, it was good that it took a while for the divorce to become final, and I had promised myself I wasn't going to date until the divorce was final. So for about 1.5 to 2 years, in that separated but still the divorce not final, I had a lot of time to do that, to ask myself, what do I want to do? For example, I started having girlfriends again, because that's a topic for another conversation. But Latin men tend to be a little controlling, so it was amazing to be able to go out with girlfriends again, go to brunch, go to have happy hours, even if I was the worst drinker in the world. Then I asked myself, what is the one thing I have never done that I always wanted to do? Go to Europe. And I booked myself a trip to Europe, and I went alone, completely alone. All my friends said, oh my God, you're crazy, they're going to kill you. Or are you going alone because you're going to find men? And I was like, no, I'm not going alone, because that's something I always wanted to do. So I went to London, Barcelona, Paris, and Italy. In Italy, I went to Rome and Florence and Anzio and a few places. And I had to do that, and that was something I always wanted to do. And that's what you are supposed to do after a breakup. You are supposed to figure out what you like, what you want, what you enjoy, and just be the most authentic version of yourself. Rediscover what that means. What is the most authentic version of yourself? And then you become like a magnet, that you attract the right people to your life, the right friends, the right job opportunities. When you are being yourself, unfiltered, it's like if you have a neon sign inviting people to join you into your phone.
Ladies, are you taking notes? I hope you are. And if not, you're more than welcome to watch this podcast as much as you can. Diely, you know what I noticed? Thank you. Truly, truly, truly. Thank you so much. Because what we tend to do, at least, in the Latino community, is like you break up with someone, or that person is the one that ends the relationship. And where's the very first thing that you do? You go and find another one, to say, oh, I'm happy. If you ditch me, then I'm capable of finding another person. And, but you haven't healed, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And what I have heard, I think it was Tony Robbins, the one that says, you think that the fact that you're changing to a new relationship is going to be completely different just because it's another person. But there is one problem. You are bringing yourself with you. And what he's saying by that is not that you are a bad person and that you will always have bad times. What he's saying is that if you are living a bad experience, it's because in a way, which we can probably touch later because it's deep stuff, you are attracting, right? You are attracting that type of relationship, or you are letting someone else to treat you the way he's treating you right now. So if you're letting someone to do that before healing and moving to another one, then it will be the same thing, right?
Exactly.
Probably different situations, but same problem. So it is so important. Thank you so much for sharing that. We need to need to feel fulfilled, right? We need to be in the right mindset. And for your experience and what you lived, I think there was a point in just by looking at your eyes and how you were glowing where you were telling us a story. I think that moment for you going to Europe and doing all those things that you wanted so much in your life made you feel that with a couple or without a couple, you were already fulfilled. You were already you. So
Yes.
you didn't need anyone to compliment you. You when you found your husband, it was just to how will you say that, to make the experience even greater. But you were whole already.
Yes, that's exactly the point. And you know, there's this theory that people attract people in their same league of attractiveness. Like if you are at 10, you don't date a 5 in looks. Is the same emotionally. You will attract to your life people at your level of development, at your level of happiness, of joy, of experiences. So if when you ask yourself, what do I want in a romantic partner? The first thing you need to, after you write your list, you need to ask, then let me become that. One of the things I had in my list of what I would like was a man with diverse interests and a man who had traveled. So I had first to acquire diverse interests, and I first had to travel myself. And exactly, it was like I ordered the recipe. My husband David has been all over Europe, and together we, until the coronavirus ruined our plans, we were traveling to Europe every single year together.
Oh my gosh, that is lovely. That is lovely. Yes, I really agree about that. You know what? I have some friends that say, "Oh, I want this in a man or in a girl," and they describe the perfect man or the perfect girl. But then the question is, in that type of girl that you desire or that type of man that you wants you, right? Is he looking for someone like you? If yes, congratulations, go for it. But if no, then there is room for improvement, and you know in which areas you need to grow, right? So that's actually me right now. I feel that I finally have so clear in my mind the type of men that I want. If you are there, please.
See, guys, if you're listening, she's single. She's a good catch.
You're so sweet, really. So I have it so clear in my mind that, to be honest with you, like right now, I am working on becoming that woman that he deserves. Not only that he wants, but that he deserves. And like, oh, and of course it's not perfect, right? But I know if we're gonna pick a battle, I know what battle we're gonna be fighting. You know, it's not gonna be things that I consider nonsense. You know, because I know life is not perfect, and since you are married right now, you can probably testify of that. But yes, like right now, I feel like I'm working more on that. It's like, what type of woman my perfect man deserves, and I'm working on becoming that person for him and for myself. Even if at the end I don't find him, I will be another woman, you know, a better version of myself. So it's a win-win for me.
Yes, that's true, Xoch. And we probably won't have much time to touch about that, but remember that list of what you want in a person. You were saying, oh, because you know nothing is perfect. The people in our lives have to resonate with us at the visceral level. The lists are there to guide you, but you know, when you know. And it's like, you know, oh my gosh, I don't remember what was on the list, but this guy must be close to it, because it's a level of essence. For example, my husband is American, white American. He doesn't like it when I call him gringo, but it's endearing. It's an endearing word. And we joke, we say, I would have never imagined that the love of my life was going to be English speaker only. When I grew up learning Spanish, completely different culture, completely different upbringing, different religion, a completely different human being than what I would have imagined at age 15, for example. But when we talk, it's like boom, it's like, yes, telepathy, like I know exactly what you mean, yes. And this is the type of person that we have the same essence. We enjoy the sunsets, we enjoy the sunrises, the moon rises, we like nature, we like philosophizing at the breakfast counter. So it's good to have your list, but remember that sometimes the lists are markers for something deeper. Maybe you say there, I want a man who's rich, and what you really want is I want a man who's responsible, organized, works hard. And maybe you say I want a man who is in good shape and muscular, and what you really say is I want a man who's healthy, who exercises, who is a good example of nutrition. Remember that there's deep criteria that are more important than your list.
Oh my gosh, loved it, loved it, loved it. Thank you so much, Dieli. And I am so sorry to say that we're running out of time. I don't want to leave without you telling us this fantastic, amazing technique that we can start doing in our homes and will be a big step for our next new life. So if you don't mind sharing it with us, and then we'll conclude. After
okay.
You first tell us the technique, and then
Okay, so I already told you a preparation step that is very important, but I'm going to repeat it. You cannot rush yourself and try to forgive someone too soon. First, you have to admit that they hurt you. You have to allow yourself to feel the negative feelings. You have to grieve. So you set yourself a date, and you may choose to do it a day that is significant for you, or you may choose to do it in the full moon, because they say full moon is the moment of completions. And you put it in your calendar a week or 2 weeks from now. And in the meantime, you say, I'm going to give myself these 2 weeks to really grieve. And you do the process we described, the letter that you write. I am sad because you did this. I am angry because of this. I am scared, or I was afraid when you did that, or I'm afraid that in the future I won't be able to. I regret that this. And a word about regret, sometimes the thing we have to grieve is what we never had. Sometimes the person, we know that person wasn't it, but I always thought it was going to be, and I wanted to have this compassionate, understanding partner, and he never was. And I tried so hard to make him fit into that, and he never did. So we have to grieve what we never had. That's what I mean with regret. So when you are done with that process, in preparation for that, for a good couple of whatever time it takes you, let's say you put yourself a subjective date so you don't get stuck on it, then, and you are ready to end with the gratitude, you make the gratitude part your eulogy, and you do a funeral. So it's a funeral or a release ceremony, whatever of the two options strike you better. When you are going to set a day to say goodbye to that person, and it's a line you're writing in the sand, starting today, that person is history. So you may prepare your space, whatever speaks to you. You light candles, you burn incense, you play music. If you want to play catharsis, if you want to play music that reminds you of your best times and make yourself cry on purpose, do it. It's like a funeral, and you sit for a quiet time, and you do a symbolic ritual. You read your eulogy letter. Thank you. We are here honoring this person. Thank you. I am thanking you because you taught me this and that. You gave me my children. You gave me these experiences. Thank you for, and you read the gratitude part of your letter, and then you can choose many different ways to do it, but what I recommend is you either burn that letter with the negative and the gratitude part, or you rip it into pieces and throw it in the ocean. The ocean is a very good place to have release ceremonies too. You decide a symbolic way in what you said, this is the end. And it can be burning your pictures. It can be burning or throwing into the ocean a present that person gave you. But And sometimes, depending on whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you may want to bring a friend, a close friend or two, to be your witnesses. And then you can add a prayer, you can add a military style tweak. And at the end, when you have said, and I'm releasing you, I'm letting you go, and you do your process, then you go do something to celebrate with your friends.
Oh my goodness, what a process. Thank you so much. I mean, just the fact of you describing it, I can already feel that energy, that healing energy. Thank you so much for sharing, Diely. And well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. It meant a lot to us. At the beginning, this podcast was meant only for women, but I am so happy to see that other men were actually watching us, and these are principles that can really help everybody, right? So thank you. It is our hope that we can soon have more podcasts. I mean, the Ellie needs to be shown all over the world.
Oh, and by the way, type your comments, tell us what topics you want us to discuss, but we are playing with the idea of a podcast making Xoch date, because I'm the expert on dating, but not in the times of coronavirus. So Xoch is the one who has to now take what I learned and what new experience in the modern world.
We'll see. And I already got nervous. So thank you, everybody. As Diely said, if you have any questions, please let us know. If you want to join the Sassy Ladies group in the English version, you are more than welcome to come. Just let us know and we will add you. If you have someone, as I said at the beginning, that may need or may want to be part of a community like ours, please invite them. And we also want to let you know that we have another version of this, which is the Sassy Latinas, in which I feel more comfortable just because Spanish is my first language, right? And we're actually having a live at 1 p.m. So depending on which group you feel more comfortable, you're always more than welcome to join us. Thank you so much.
And that's
happy
1
Valentine's Day.
1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes. Sorry, I'm in California. Thank you so much, Diely. It was a pleasure talking to you, and thank you everybody who was able to join us. Truly a pleasure. Take care and happy Valentine's Day. And remember, just like Diely said, your best friend will be always you. It has to be you.
Yes.
Tons of love.
Bye.
Bye-bye.